Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Menachem Creditor. It's my honor to serve as scholar in residence and rabbi for UJ Federation of New York. We bring you Torah and music, blessing, and community every weekday. We've been doing so since March 18th, 2020. Today it is Wednesday, November 27th, 2024. It is broadcast 1184. It is day 418 of the war. It's been a beautiful and profound privilege to be present with all of you for 4.5 years every weekday morning, to create a community with all of you that learns together and says good morning, like this. Hi, Susie. Hi, Penny. Betsy, Kate. It's good to see you. Peter, Debbie and Jonathan, Barbara and Rosa, Jerry and Dale, Anna, good morning. It's good to see all of you. Dale and Arlene, Amy and Jack, Cecile and Barry, Boker Tov. It's good to see all of you today. Let's see, Betsy, you're in London. Nice. You are closer to Fabrice than I have ever been so far. Helen and Marilyn, Lydia and Natalia, good morning. Hi, Linda. Good to see all of you. Adrian, Susan and Deborah, Tsiona, good morning. Good to see you. Tsiona, your mezuzah has been ordered. Mazel tov. Joyce, good to see you. Roberta and Anya. Marcia. Hi, Penny, on both screens. Nice to see you. Let's take a breath, everybody. Sing a bracha, learn some Torah. Hi, Corinne. Nice to see you. To everybody. Hope you are getting ready. If it's your custom, getting ready for Thanksgiving, feeling the possibilities of the world, having a little bit more hope, sharing gratitude for what is an overwhelming blessing just being alive. And since yesterday's announcement that there would be, please God, a ceasefire in the north between Israel and Hezbollah, please God, may this be an opportunity for the 60,000 Israelis who have not been able to be home for 418 days. 60,000 residents of the north in Israel have been dislocated, is the gentlest of words. Many of their homes have been destroyed. This is a moment of real rebuilding for there to be a chance, not at peace, but a ceasefire. May there be a contagion in that way, such that we can get the hostages home and please God begin to return a little bit to a semblance of normalcy. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm not quite sure what that looks like, but I do know that it is necessary. So grateful to the Biden administration for helping broker what I hope will be a real ceasefire. And please God, may the residents of the north in Israel be able to be home for the first time in a very long time. And may that be one step towards the end of all of this horror. It won't be the erasure of what we've been through, but please, God, let the soldiers stop dying and let the hostages come home. So I wanted to look at a part of this parsha that I've never seen before. I am a subscriber to Hadar. Hadar, for those who don't know, it's an egalitarian yeshiva based in Manhattan. It is an overwhelming network of multi-generational programming and thought leadership, real learning, and ordination for some. And they send out a weekly parsha commentary. And this year, Rabbi Tali Adler is writing the Drashot. And I've taught with Rabbi Adler. I find her to be a remarkable, incisive, and humble teacher. And her commentary this week is simply beyond anything I could explain. So what I'm going to do is actually try to teach her Torah today. Chayei Sarah includes an introduction to Rivka Imenu, to Rivka, our matriarch, but the title of Rabbi Adler's commentary is Rivka, the ambivalent matriarch. And I'm going to share a few of Rabbi Adler's observations. None of these thoughts are originally mine. I simply want to be a good student to my colleague and to convey some incredible insights that she's brought through. Rivka, Rebecca, is brought from the faraway place to be Isaac's wife. That's what she agrees to. And then we see that she's not able to have a child, and the text interestingly says that Isaac prayed for Rebecca to be able to have a child. And this is the way, at least conventionally, we read the book of Breshit, that couples, especially the women, have a hard time conceiving, and that's what makes them biblical matriarchs. It's a miraculous birth. But listen to the verse, and we're going to build on something that is subtle here. Vayater Yitzchak l'Adonai lenochach ishto ki akara hi, vayater lo Adonai v'tahar Rivka ishto. This is Genesis 25:21. Here's a translation. Yitzchak pleaded with God before his wife because she was barren, and God responded to his plea, and his wife Rivka conceived. Isn't it interesting to hear who's doing the praying? Who's doing the praying? Isaac is. Yitzchak. He is praying that his wife should be able to have a baby. She doesn't pray for that. And that is something really interesting. Now, yes, God responds to Isaac's prayer and they do conceive. But then when she is pregnant, the language that she uses is interesting too. The children, before they're born, the babies are struggling within her. Vatomer, im kain lama ze anochi. If so, why do I exist? Thank you, Rosa, for placing the link to Rabbi Adler's Drash. Her reaction to her pregnancy, Rebecca's reaction to her pregnancy, is fascinating, especially in contrast to the way Rachel's later reaction to the pregnancy, or lack thereof, comes through. Rachel says, I will die if I can't have more children, meaning she wants to be the matriarch of all of Israel. Rivka never says that. Rivka does not express that she wants to have children at all. In fact, the only thing about the pregnancy that she says is, why? Why? And to Arlene's point, I just want to quote Arlene. Arlene writes, fascinating that the inability to get pregnant might be on the father's side. Well, as a father who went through fertility treatment towards having my children, I can attest to the complexity of trying to have a child. Now, Rabbi Adler's point is not about men. It is actually about Rivka. So I want to keep that focus there. Rabbi Adler quotes a midrash. It's an ancient midrash from around the year 200 CE, Breshit Rabbah, and it comments on Rebecca's phrase, if so, why do I exist? So listen to what she said. Listen to what the ancient midrash says. This teaches that Rivka, our mother, would go around to all the women and ask them, did you experience pain like this? If this is the standard pain of pregnancy, better that I should never have become pregnant. Rav Huna says, if I am destined to give birth to all 12 tribes, better that I had not conceived this many. It was taught in the name of Rabbi Nehemiah. Rivka was worthy to give birth to all of the 12 tribes. Meaning, Rivka could have been the matriarch of the 12 tribes, but as we know, that happens one generation later. And so it's interesting that when it comes to becoming pregnant, Rivka never asks for it, and when it happens, she struggles. That is important, friends, to realize. Number one, because as a man, I don't know, I'm trying to speak humbly about this, but Rivka doesn't seem to ask for what she is handed. This destiny of being the matriarch doesn't seem to be what she wants. And there is a fascinating commentary by a 13th century French commentator named Rabbi Chaim Paltiel. Again, I did not do this research. I'm only quoting Rabbi Adler's teaching, where Rabbi Paltiel says, Rashi explains that Rivka, when she went out to seek God, goes to a certain yeshiva, which is, of course, anachronistic. There's no such thing as a yeshiva during the Torah. You don't go to learn Torah during the book of Genesis. But this kind of time travel is very much the way that we understand Jewish literature. She went to learn. So listen to this. Rashi explains that Rivka went to the Beit Midrash of Shem ve'Ever to figure out what this pain was. And this is astonishing, says Rabbi Paltiel. Why did she not go to the Beit Midrash, the house of study, of Avraham Avinu, who was still alive, her father-in-law? It may be that the reason she did not go to her father-in-law's Beit Midrash was because she wanted to take an abortifacient, meaning, in the Hebrew, sam shaita mapelet, a drug that would induce an abortion. And she thought that if she went to her father-in-law, he would not allow it, even if it was permitted, because it was his family. A 13th century French commentator reads sensitively about what might have been going on for Rebecca. She's in pain with a pregnancy that she did not ask for. She did not pray for, at least not in our texts. And she goes to a yeshiva, she goes for religious counsel far from home, because she cannot get religious counsel, as Rabbi Adler says, from the rabbis in her family. They're too wrapped up in this to give her advice about what is permitted. Because if she wants to end her pregnancy, they might be the ones praying for there to be that child. It is a fascinating thing, this is how Rabbi Adler writes, that Rivka has a halachic question that is far too personal and too sensitive to bring to her father-in-law, whether she may terminate her pregnancy. She's afraid that Avram, Yitzchak's father, may forbid it, not because of halachic reasons, not because of Jewish law, but because he doesn't want to cause pain for Yitzchak, for Isaac, who prayed for the pregnancy. Rivka, like so many Jewish women, is made even lonelier in her suffering because of her fear of judgment and an overly restrictive halachic guide who may see other concerns more clearly than he can see the scared woman in front of him. It is fascinating to think about God's response then to Rivka. God's response to Rivka is, this is what the children within you are. This is what they signify. This is how Rabbi Adler writes. God does not respond to Rivka's halachic query with a yes or no. Instead, God gives her information. Here's what's happening. Here's what it means. Here's what will happen if you go through with your pregnancy. While it is not explicit in the narrative, what God means, says Rabbi Adler in this moment, might be this. You searched for me, and I am here. Here's what you need to know. The choice is yours. You might have assumed that there would be shame from God at Rivka for such an action. And I agree with what Arlene is saying. This is a difficult interpretation of the text. Often When we read commentaries, we find out more about the people offering the commentary. So Rabbi Paltiel in France, and a modern female rabbi's perspective on the difference between halacha and family hesitation, the limitation of women's voices in patriarchal Jewish circles, the permissibility of abortion, and the social values contesting a woman's right. So I want to read Rabbi Adler's ending, not because it's the only way of reading the text, but because it is a possible read of the text. This is how Rabbi Adler closes her Drash. In that moment, God is there, not to chastise Rivka, not to urge her to be a better woman, to reconcile herself to her role as a mother, not to tell her to bear her pain, but simply to give her the information she has so far been denied, and to be with her as she chooses what to do with what she has been told. God speaks directly to Rivka, but reading her story, we might imagine God whispering through the text to us, quote, "There does not have to be any realm of human experience, of human choice, even the most agonizing, where you cannot seek me out. Even in this moment, especially in this moment, when the world might turn its back, I am here." It's important for us to allow this interpretation of the text, even if it feels far-fetched. The literal read of biblical stories is never the limitation of how we tell them. We embellish and imagine and write midrash upon midrash, story upon story, legend upon legend, amplifying biblical characters to be fleshed out in a way that they are not in the original biblical text. We feel like we discover more about them and about ourselves when we do this work. So I want to bless us to let in Rabbi Adler's Torah. Rabbi Adler is suggesting that Rivka is not the simple figure of the willing, struggling matriarch that the Torah often provides, especially in the book of Breshit. It might be much more complicated than that. And where Rivka's voice is heard is important to pay attention to also. Why then am I if this is what it's going to be? And God responds not with judgment, but with information. May we be wise enough to see the difference between what is permissible and what some of us might be uncomfortable with, and to give each other space to make crucial, pivotal, life-altering decisions, especially when it comes to, I'm saying it as a man, but I mean specifically women, our own bodies. If we believe that we are each created in the image of God, and the structure that we hold on to as our community is big enough to let us imagine and wonder, and smart enough to tell us to stop judging each other, then we should be grateful to have teachers like Rabbi Adler who are brave and bring forward with courage a story that is really not told enough. A rebuke, a challenge, an opening, and most of all, a way of being close to God no matter what. We'll meet tomorrow to learn for Thanksgiving. But I ask you in the meantime, not only to recognize all the things for which we should be grateful, but to know that that gratitude for the possibilities of learning and growing and showing up and coming together, the gratitude should also be for ideas that might challenge our sensibilities. Torah is bigger than one of our perspectives. So too can we grow. We can still absolutely believe what we believe. And as we say that, we have to grant that to each other too. Let's take a breath. In this moment of a fragile beginning peace, please let's pray for more of it. Let's sing. Kol hod b'leva pnima nefesh Yehudi Homiya Ulefatei Mizrach Kadima Ayin Letzion Sophia Olo avda tikvateinu, hatikva bat shnot alpayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim, liot am chofshi be'artzeinu, Eretz Zion v'Yerushalayim. Bring them home now. Am Yisrael Chai. For those who celebrate a happy Thanksgiving, see you tomorrow morning.